What's going on there, YouTube? So, as you saw here in the intro, this was going to start out as a ModRod build series. Didn't really get any progress done on it. I've just sat there and stared at front suspension stuff, and I haven't found the right inspiration yet. I did the little addition on the back, the little metal pieces, just reusing more stuff off of the FJ9 chassis. Thought it kind of looked cool, kind of gives it a fastback look, but it adds a little more of that mechanical modern look. Not sure about all that stuff yet. Kind of put that on hold, and I need to, every now and then you got to walk away from a build and just kind of stew on it for a bit. But I'm going to turn this video now into one of the Friday night hangout in the shop videos. So I got a lot of little things to do again. Nothing major. Mainly I need to brainstorm. I need some ideas. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with all these rat rods. Some of them are getting a little worn. Some of them need some electronics and stuff. I'm just not sure what direction I want to take them all. I think once I get some of this stuff cleared up, and then I can focus on the new build a little better. So I took all these out last Saturday to LonestarRC Hobbies in North Dallas. They call it a TryRC event, and they basically steal half the parking lot on Saturday night. The Banana RC Raceway folks come and set up a road track, and they do some racing and stuff, all different classes. It's very cool to see that. I haven't seen any, because they have their, like their Trans Am series looking cars. It's like the Lexan Firebirds and Camaros and stuff, and they're all equally equipped, so it's more of a driver's battle. It was neat to see that. I haven't seen racing like that since I was a kid. Might be something I want to get into. I don't know. I got enough hobbies. But then they brought out a mobile crawler course and put up some jumps, and people were out there just flying through the air and doing some crazy stuff. But it was a really cool event. That hobby shop is really awesome. Bill and the folks down there at Lone Star, they've really built a community around it. It's not just a store. You don't just come in there and buy stuff. I mean, that whole event was going on. Bill was in there all night doing repair work, fixing people's stuff, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see everybody come together like that. Met lots of great folks in the area. I'm trying to make some new friends around. Maybe we can get out and do some RC stuff with. It wasn't much of a scale event. I will say that. I was a little quarantined in my little safe zone with all my fancy little detailed cars. And everybody's driving, you got X-Maxes running around at full speed and flying 10 feet in the air and stuff. And they had some drag racing. And I've got a few clips of that, which we'll put in here. And it was pretty bad. I broke my GoPro again. The video I put up last on the channel was me welding and building my rack for my overland trailer, my real off-road trailer. And I got the lens all eat up with metal and weld spatter and stuff. So I just replaced the lens. I was all excited, and I just kind of flustered out there because there was so much going on at the RC event. And I set the GoPro on the hatch of my 4Runner, and I thought I had it suctioned down good, but it was dirty and it didn't stick. And I was hanging up my RC Everyday banner, and my GoPro fell straight on the concrete and shattered the lens this time. So I got some footage here without a lens protector on it. Poor GoPro's been through it. But let's take a look at this stuff and see. And it's a really cool event. Everybody should come out and do that kind of stuff every now and then and meet some folks in the hobby. It's always cool to talk to like-minded people in person and see their builds and stuff like that. So check this out.
We get run over out here, ain't it?
Oh shit.
He's right there.
I really haven't got out. I got no one or nowhere to go. So.
3, 2, 1, go!
Next Next time I'll have the computer hooked up so I won't have to make that sound for you. I just thought having Halloween music was more fun this time.
I think there's someone in it, maybe not.
Alright, so I'll put a link in the video description to Lone Star Hobbies Facebook. They announce a week or so in advance when they have events like that. If you're in the area, check them out. It's a really cool shop. And yeah, I appreciate them letting me come out and hang out with everybody. So, looking at some rat rods. I didn't even take this. This is my first rat rod build, the 32 Roadster. I didn't even take it to Florida with me last year. I think I had the chassis. I took the chassis out there Saturday, and I don't know. It's just kind of boring. I think it may be time to do some upgrades to it. The body on this is fragile. That's the problem. This is the 1/8 scale Revell monogram 32, what a Big Deuce Roadster model kit. And it is a vintage kit. It's not anything new. The kit's probably 50 years old. The plastic is brittle. When I first drive on it, I lost part of the bottom of the grill. It's held together with a lot of epoxy and hot glue, and it's pretty janky, but it was going full rat rod on it. But the main thing that makes this delicate is the windshield frame. Is a model car part that is cast aluminum. And it looks like it's bent a little bit again. It just does not hold up well. I can't put it in the storage box where I pack all the rat rods when I take them out. So that's why I don't usually take the body with me. Plus it's so hard to get on and off. But the chassis is the most impressive part. But the poor thing's gotten beat up over time. My shifter with the skull handle or skull shift knob broke off. And has no electronics, has no nothing. Considered changing the body and doing something different with it, but the chassis really lends itself to that Roadster body. It won't fit any of my coupe bodies or anything. They're too narrow. Something like this truck cab might work, but you know, it's hard to change it because I've got so much time in the engineering of it. It's really just a showpiece, but I really think this chassis, the suspension on it is phenomenal. This is my best work I've ever done, I think, as far as engineering. The cantilever, it's a 3-link with a panhard in the rear. Front's still a solid axle, but it's got a cantilever, and it actually, the radius arms work as a sway bar almost. It adds a little tension with the rods, but you still get side-to-side movement, and it works really well. The main problem with it is I was so afraid of breaking it that I threw, what is that, a 35 turn crawler motor in it. I don't even know what it is. Yeah, it's a 35 turn. And we threw the R4 transmission and a Yoda 2, I think, rear axle. Maybe a Yoda. It just has no top end speed. And I really would like to see that go a little faster. Again, not with that body on it, but maybe we could do some actual runs with it without the body. Because the chassis, I think the chassis is the main showpiece of it. The body kind of feels like an afterthought. But I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. That might be a fun little rig to run through the yard with. It does have a little bit of ground clearance and stuff, unlike most of the other rat rods. I posted a bunch of pictures of it on Instagram this past week. Kind of feeling nostalgic. The build was so awesome when it was going on. How detailed everything was, and I just really love that rear suspension setup. That's just the way those the chassis rails. I mean, this is to me a bruiser frame. It's stretched about 1 inch in the front. And the rear is a Tonka road grader, like a 1958 Tonka road grader front frame rails, and it dovetails in the back. It's just a really awesome the way it worked out. But I don't know. I want to do something with that chassis. I just don't know what yet. So any ideas, post them in the comments below. And I always read all the comments. And I appreciate everybody's input on the channel. So moving on, the old number 2. My best truck ever. This truck, I didn't even remember. It does run and drive. We did a transmission swap on it last year. I put a SCX-10 transmission in it, trying to get a little more speed out of it. I think originally I was running an old Disruptor RC 4-drive transmission. It's one of those extreme gear reduction units. It was like a 14-to-1 or something. And this thing just really wouldn't go. And it still doesn't really have the top end speed The main problem with this one is it just has no ground clearance. So pretty much, unless I'm in my garage, there's nowhere I can drive this. It could do a parking lot somewhere, but that's the thing. It's just set so low. But I've got a brushless system in there that we pieced together. I believe a viewer sent me in this Trackstar ESC. I had the Radeon or whatever it is, brushless motor. I'm trying to get some wheel speed out of it. But this truck is ready to run. I just need to strap a battery in it, and we can take it for a drive. Which we might do that here at the end of the video, because I just haven't seen it run in a while. I do have a LiPo charged and ready to go. So we'll see what we can do with that. But this truck is actually not that delicate. Short of the exhaust pipe over here, could come off. Intake's on there pretty good. It's pretty stout. The body is just kind of sits on there and wedges in between the motor and the back of the chassis here. Doesn't really come up unless you hit it on the ground on something, or your battery's not secured inside. But like I said, we put a SCX10 transmission in. Helped the top end speed a little bit, but not enough. That brushless system should really rip. I don't remember what I've run this on. I don't know if I've run it on a LiPo yet. It's been so long. It wasn't that long ago. I recently switched to LiPo. Finally took the leap, and I'm not even sure what kind of battery connector that is. I have to see if I have an adapter for that to run a Dean's connector. I think I have a Dean's connector I could swap on it. I may have to do that. That may be why I haven't driven it in a while. But yeah, this is just a really cool rig, and it's not, it's not built for more than looks really. It just sets so low. The transmission, or I think we messed up the rear end. You can see all the paint's gone off of the oil pan of the motor. That's pretty cool. I love this thing. It's the showpiece for the channel. It's always going to be like the brand spokesman, I guess. That's one problem I've been having. I get asked a lot if these airbags are functional. They are not. They are made by Lisu, and they're just for looks. They're for 1/14 scale semi trucks, and they have come apart over the years. They have springs inside. And every time, the bags used to be sealed all the way around and they would hold, but there's nothing really holding this from anything. I need to make some limiting straps, I guess, and bolt from here to here to keep the axle from drooping too far, and keeping these springs from popping out, because they are kind of a pain to put back in. So we got to try to do that. I think somebody makes some scale limiting straps out there on the market for stadium trucks and stuff, but that may be a little bit too large for this. Plus I don't want anything that looks too new on it. I don't want some bright fluorescent pink straps on the back of it. But yeah, we really don't have a whole lot. I mean, there's no shocks. It's just basically the tension of the rubber and the spring inside. So we get a little bit of travel. Right now it's got about 2 millimeters of ground clearance. So yeah, a whole lot. But let's see if we can take this thing for a drive here in a little bit. So I hope you can hear me over the cheap eBay servos on this thing. The number 3 is running, driving, good to go, but it's extremely slow. That old disruptor transmission that we took out of number 2, I used on this. This build got all the hand-me-down, the worst electronics I had. I built this right as I was finishing up the number 2 build, and I was broke. I had no money left over. It has the original RC 4-wheel drive Outcry ESC, the big giant purple one with the external BEC. It's got the cheap Orange RX knockoff Spectrum servo, or receiver, I'm sorry. And all the servos, including the steering servo, are the little cheap, like $3 knockoff Tower Hobbies servos that I got off eBay for I think I got like 6 for $12 or something. And they work, but it has some issues like the noise you hear. But this one does run and drive. I took it out there to Lone Star, and it did meet head-on with a Traxxas Bigfoot. Luckily, all it did was chip the paint on the grill. It didn't damage anything, which is testament to how good these 3D printed bodies can be, because that grill is just glued on the front from the inside and around the edges, and my metal mesh insert is hot glued on, I believe. And all we got was a pretty good little paint chip over here. Kind of deep, but we can just touch it up pretty easy. I'll do that here in a minute once we take the body off. But again, this was all. I get a lot of questions on Instagram about this one. I posted a little video of it going up and down before I took it out last weekend, and it's not. Most people that do the hydraulics with the servos, the lowrider guys and stuff, they all run 6-channel, 9-channel radios, and this is just a basic 3-channel. And all the 4 of the servos for the lift are tied to 1 channel. So I've got a bunch of Y adapters, and then I have some those inline reverse things for servos that make them go the opposite way to make the make sure they all go the same way, because they're not all facing the same way, but they all need to go down and up instead of left and right. And the way they're orientated, is that even a word? Oriented, there we go. Inside it wouldn't work. So if I just plugged them all in with Y adapters and done it, it would go from like one side up, one side down, and yeah, it would never do what we need it to do. But I've got it all here on the 3rd channel. It's up. Now the problem with this also, they're with all the wiring and all that stuff, they're not always the same. Like right now, I think this right front doesn't go up as high as the left front, and I'm constantly having to adjust it. I have to take the servo horn off and try to align it with the one on the opposite side, and it'll work for a while. Like I hadn't used this rig in a few months, and I just threw a battery in it, took it out there, and it's not lifting up as high as it normally would. But yeah, I'm gonna pull the body off here and we'll take a look at the chassis. It's just noisy. Another issue with the electrical setup on this is that old ESC, when you power or you plug in the battery, you have steering and all your main non-drive functions. They all come on even without the power button on. So I can sit there and raise it up and down and do the steering without having the ESC running. Not you, Siri. No, go away. Stupid phone. But the body mounts are really easy. I just have 2 scale bolts, one on each side here, through some RC 4-wheel drive Tailfinder 2 plastic body mounts. And the back, I think these were off of my Clodbuster that I built a while ago. They're just body posts. You could put pins on it. The way it fits snugly, I don't have to. Let me raise this thing up. Alright, here it glitching out bad. It's pretty big mess. Transmission, that old disruptor is right down there on the bottom. Not sure if you can see it behind all the wiring. This has another crawler motor. There wasn't any point with that gear reduction unit on there to try and throw a high-speed motor on it. But yeah, it really needs something else, and I don't know what to do on that. There's not a whole lot of, it's not a whole lot of fast transmissions. All the cars, RC cars that are designed to go fast, are maybe the direct drive, like the drag cars and the Bowlink stuff like that, or they're like touring cars. So you have a central gearbox and 4-wheel drive, shaft drive, and independent rear and front ends and stuff like that to get the gearing you need. So there's not really a good high-speed transmission out there to use that would look scale and have, a rear-facing output to go to a live axle like this and stuff like that. So let me bring you around. My arms here are not even remotely close to the right angle. Where's my screwdriver? That's a flathead. That's another problem with using these little cheap servos is it's all Phillips head, self-tapping kind of hardware. Here it is. So I'm going to try to align this one a little better. My favorite part of this is using shocks for the links between the servo arm and the chassis, or the suspension. That way you still get some suspension out of it. It does actually function as good as one of those, to me, a grand hauler shocks with internal springs can, but alright, pull this little guy off of here. That looks pretty good. Another problem I was having with this, when it goes all the way down, uh-oh, that servo not working at all now. I think we may have killed that servo. Let me turn this thing off. So you turned it off, still have everything except throttle. Hey, there we go. So it appears that servo is dying. The gears and stuff on it feel good, but oh Lord, this thing is a disaster. So definitely might want to upgrade the servos on this eventually. Not sounding good. I think we may have killed it finally. Let's just put this on there and see what we get. There we go. Now we're cooking. And it's glitching. It's glitching hard. We'll screw it in and see if it still works. First time I ran this, I forgot to put all the servo screws in. There we go. It's weak. I'm not getting much lift out of the back either. This might benefit from a LiPo as well. I don't think that original Outcry ESC is compatible. I think maybe this battery may be dead. This wasn't the one I charged. Let me swap those out. I think that battery was dying. We're getting more lift again. Everything is working better. That's top speed. So really not much to speak of. But yeah, everything's working better. So I think that was the problem with it. But again, I got this giant janky mess of wires over here. All the Y adapters, the polarity reversers or whatever they're called for the servos on the opposite side. The receiver is not even stuck to anything anymore. That giant ESC shoved down there. You flip it around the back. The rear servos are mounted kind of through one servo horn on one side, or not servo horn, a actual servo mount that was cut down on one side, sandwiched between two sheets of metal. And yeah, the sheet of metal is welded to the cross brace for the chassis. The chassis is all the way down low on the ground, just straight pieces with an angle on the top, or in the front and the back, that the suspension mounts to. This is pretty sketchy. This build was kind of thrown together, like I said, with I didn't really have any money for it. But you can see there, it's triangulated 4-link. Got a little bit of suspension movement. Works pretty well for what it is, but I think it's definitely time for some upgrades to electronics. Any recommendations on some decent, not overly expensive micro servos? Comment below, send links, something. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of money to spend on this kind of stuff anymore. You know, channel's getting expensive with all these cars and all that, but you know, something, you know, maybe $10, $15 a piece. I'm gonna need 5 of them for this thing. I'll probably just swap in a Hobby Wing quick run ESC, little 1060s that I like. I don't believe I have one currently. I have an Axial AE5 I might could use. I gotta turn this thing off, it's too noisy. Alright, there we go. Save battery on my radio here. But yeah, I definitely need some upgrades. I've got a good actual Spectrum receiver I can use on it. And I don't think I have a quick run laying around. I don't see one anywhere. But I have an Axial, what is that? So I might could swap in something like this. I've got, what is this one, the AE3s? Those were decent. Those were just like a Castle knockoff. So I might could swap in one of those. And I don't think that's going to fix the glitchy of the cheap servos. But anyway, let me know what y'all think about the servos. Recommend any below, and we'll take a look at upgrading this thing in the future. Alright guys, so what I'm learning from all this is I need to buy some more electronics. We've got so many rigs now, it's like I keep stealing everything away. The farm truck here doesn't have anything but a servo in it and a motor. Just to me a can motor. This one was actually pretty quick to drive, and I don't really understand why. The R4, I guess that's the R4. I guess the can motor in the R4. Because I have the same R4 transmission in the original Ratrod, and it was very slow, but it's got a 35 turn motor. And I think those Tamiya can motors are what, like 12 turns, something like that. They're pretty low turn, so they're a little faster. This truck is in great shape. It's complete. I just don't have any electronics to run it. The body's held on with rare earth magnets. It's not the strongest hold. But yeah, this truck's complete. It works great. I haven't had any issues with it. It's actually really fun to drive in the gravel. It's got enough ground clearance. It's got enough suspension. I really need to get this one as a regular runner because it it's a lot of fun. That would have been fun to have that one running out there at the event, because it could have done a little bit of running around. But yeah, this whole build started from these headlights. They're a little loose now. I can't tighten them up without taking the whole grill and servo and everything out. But it started with those headlights. Those are tips for a commercial blowgun, like a air nozzle for like blowing out from under cabinets and stuff. Industrial kind of use. And I found one of those in my storage building when I bought my house, and it was beat up and like kind of scuffed up aluminum, and it took me forever to find another one somewhere. They sell them new. The tip alone is like $17 on Amazon. It's ridiculous. They look like little rocket engines though. Look at the back side of it. It's got a really neat look. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on that. It's a really cool piece. That's what this whole build started with. And yeah, again, if you got any questions about these builds, I've got the full build series up on the channel. They're out there, all step by step. What was this off of? Oldsmobile rocket hood ornament. And that is 3D printed aluminum. I designed that with Shapeways and Fusion 360. We had a little collaboration for a while, and the guy from Autodesk, he really designed it and kind of walked me through the process, trying to help me learn, which I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I'm more, let's just build it with hammers and fire. I don't want to really do the 3D design thing. Wasn't really for me, but it came out really cool, and we kind of prototyped that part and designed it and made it and did some 3D plastic prints. I did some bronze, brass, some different sizes. And those are available. RC Everyday has a Shapeways store. I haven't looked at it in a while. I don't think I've ever actually sold anything, but yeah, they're on there. The engine is a flathead Nightcrawlers 3D. Check out his website. He's got those for sale. It's a really nice design. I think it was designed by M Customs, the same guy that designed the cab actually. And the cab I got from Shapeways. They've gotten a lot more expensive. I think when I did this one, it was about $100 for a print, and from Shapeways, which is really nice quality. And we just rusted the whole thing because I didn't know what I was going to do with it. But yeah, they've got, last I looked, I think they were like $180. I don't know why the price hike happened so much, but yeah, it's a really, really good solid cab. It's got a firewall already on it, so it's 4 sides, open on the bottom. Really, really easy to work with on a platform like this, and I like it a lot better than some of the other designs where you have to try to make a firewall for it. And yeah, but I don't want to have too many of the same cabs. Now back, the suspension on the rear is a lot firmer. I think in one of the last Scale Shop Hangout videos, we fixed the suspension because it broke in transit coming back from Florida last year from USTE. The 4-link, the bottom rods hold the bottom of the shock, and I didn't have quite a long enough screw to go all the way through, or a rod end basically, and I had to get some long bolts, cut the heads off, and try to make it like that to reinforce it and get all the angles and stuff right. But it has quite a bit of flex. The front is basic, just radius arm. Shock's a similar setup. You don't get as much side to side, but you do get some. That's what's cool about this radius arm style setup I do on these, the kind of suicide front end. You just have 2 links. As long as they're far enough back, it keeps your angle, your pinion, your pitch good enough. And but when they're tight and everything, you just have a little bit of movement from the rod ends, but it kind of acts like a sway bar. You get a little tension out of it. It's like a torsion bar, sway bar setup. So you still get side to side movement, but it's limited. Where like as the rear, being a triangulated 4-link, it's just, you know, full flex. But it's kind of a neat combination when you're driving it, because the front stays planted so you can guide it, but the rear is all over the place. And this thing did a lot of fun, had a lot of fun sliding through the gravel and all that good stuff. Probably one of my favorite builds. I really need to do some more stuff with that and get it out and drive it. It's one of the most well built ones I've got. It's very durable. There's not a whole lot of fragile stuff. The exhaust, it's kind of fragile. I'd be worried about breaking those off on something, but other than that, it's pretty stout. So the tank track rat rod here, it's completely ready to run. It's got all electronics in it. The problem I was having with it is it's not fun to drive with the tracks. It's so they keep flipping over. But the slicks I was running on it, I can't keep the wheels on the slicks. Those, where are they? I don't even have any laying around. There's some in the back on the rack over there, but they're those Goodyear Racing Eagle slicks that I got from eBay. They're for a model car, like a 1/8 scale drag car, and they're like a 2-inch wheel, so 1/9 fits it and looks good. But this thing actually had some power, and it would do donuts and burnouts and stuff, and the wheels kept coming off. And I tried gluing the wheels on, and I never had much luck getting them to stay. So I need to figure out a different tire option. I was running, here they are, was running these dirt grabbers. I bought some new ones and they came in flat spotted. I was kind of upset about. They don't look as good as the slicks did on there, but they did give a really nice little bit of squeal when you're burning out with them. But the main problem with that is the width. These wheels, when I ran them on the slicks, I had them reversed. I had these hubs on the other side, and I didn't run this cool thing. These are the RC 4-wheel drive 1/9 cruiser wheels, like the front's on there, and it looks really cool, but I don't want to have it smooth when it's just the same skinny tire, and it didn't look right. So if I bolt it to the axle, it rubs the side of the body, and it won't drive. So I've been kind of stuck on that, trying to figure out, got the other one over here, figure out what I'm going to do for a rear tire and wheel setup on this where I can actually drive it. Might try to get that one out here in a little bit. It's supposed to get cold and rainy again, so this may be the last time I get to do any driving for a little bit. So let me look around. I'm gonna see if I can figure out something for that right now. So did some digging around. I found these tires. I've already messed up one of them. This one. See my 1/9 beadlock cut the tire. These are off of a Radio Shack Red Shaker, which is the exact same body as the Tamiya Isuzu Mu Amigo. It was kind of a dumbed down version, but it was a hard body, kind of a scale looking truck. The Radio Shack one had tires that stuck out the side really far, and these slicks I saved off of it when I did that build a while ago. And yeah, they're closer to a 1.55, but I'm cramming these 1/9s on them. And I put the beadlock ring in. It's holding air, actually. I was going to try to shove some foam in there, but that definitely didn't work out. It's too much foam. They're a little bit smaller than the other ones. I think it's going to be a good look, but these are super soft, so I'm thinking these may only last for one drive. I'm hoping we can get some good burnouts and stuff with them. So got one done and mounted. I need to put the hex on the back here, and I got to take the other one off this flat spotted dirt grabber. It's all lumpy and horrible looking, and swap it over. So let's do that real quick. Wait, that's the bad one. Yeah, that's the good one. I don't want to waste my time on a bad tire. This takes a little while. Alright guys, so those tires didn't work out very well. I was figuring I was good to burn them off anyway, but the once you put the beadlock ring in it, I had one, it ripped on me on the other side already. This one held up pretty well, but they are a little bit shorter, so the body kept hitting on the ground. Didn't give me a whole lot of suspension travel. And this one just didn't want to stay on, so it was hopping around. I tried to glue it. See, there's a lot of glue on the wheel, but it just won't hold. So, oh well. I mean, those tires are from, mid-90s Radio Shack, so didn't expect them to hold up very well. But the thing does have some wheel speed. If I can get those big slicks to stay on some wheels, the problem is it's just a slightly larger diameter. It's like a 2-inch instead of a 1.9, and they just won't hold. But that's the right size. That's what I need on there. So I don't know. I'm about to mess with some different tire and wheel combos and different beadlock rings and stuff like that. See if we can get something to hold it. Because the last time I did, these are very hard tires, very hard compound. These are super soft and would have worked great for burnout tires, but that's why I was hopping so bad, because this lump sticking out over here. But these, once they start melting, man, it really does cool. But so I don't know. That one's fun. It's better like that than with the tracks on it. Yeah. What's next? I think that's about it. I did want to give an update on one other thing. Ask a lot about this. This is the Peterbilt Ratrod that I started with Wes Braswell. Check his channel out, Wes Made. He does lots of styrene scratch builds. And yeah, I worked for Peterbilt, so I was thinking it'd be cool to do an old Peterbilt Ratrod. And he built this awesome cab, and it really is extremely detailed, really awesome work. He's got the full build on his channel. You can watch him build all that. And he built the chassis as well. All from scratch. The tank, everything. This build hasn't gotten any further because there's not a tire and wheel out there that works. I can't get the look I want with it. The thing was, we wanted to do it in 1/10 scale. And all the semi-truck stuff out there is 1/14. And if we'd have done it, 1/14 scale cab, we could have thrown, normal semi-truck wheels like what's here on number 2 and stuff like that on there, and it would have looked fine. But since it's 1/10 scale, there's not really any 1/10 scale semi-truck tire and wheels. And I've tried everything. Like, these are 2.2 Tamiya, or I think they're 2.2. They're kind of an odd size. But tried those on the front. They fit the slicks really well on the back, but it's still not big enough. The proportions aren't right, and I'm just not happy with it. So I'm trying to find something that will work, and it's been well over a year, and I still haven't found anything. What did I buy? I bought some of those, that International, the CX whatever or something. It was a big toy grade, but it was a 1/6 scale of their kind of heavy-duty truck with a truck bed. And it has some really big dually wheels, and the wheels would work, but the tires on it were way too big, and I can't find an RC tire that would even come close to fitting it. Those tire wheels, they're probably a little too big still, but if I could just find a on-road tire that would fit them, it might look kind of cool. These were the tires that came on it. Obviously, they're way too funky, way too big, cartoonish. The wheels may be a little cartoonish, but I don't know. This build's just been stuck on that. I could go ahead and mount the motor and stuff. I've stolen shocks off of it. I took the transmission off of it for another build. I hate doing that. I hate cannibalizing it, and I don't know. I just can't get the look I want. There's not a product that exists. I've looked everywhere, all aspects of toy cars, from little kids' toys to models to everything, and I just can't find the right tire and wheel setup that looks right on here. Short of 3D printing something, but there's still no tire. 3D printing tires, I have not seen any that are actually usable at this point in time. I know folks have been trying to do stuff like that, but I don't think the technology is quite there yet. But I think the last thing we did on this, we did the interior and the body. It's got actual interior panels with fabric and those awesome design seats. Painted the dash, put gauges and stuff on it. Steering wheel, all that, but yeah, just stuck on it. I wasn't happy with how the suspension had come out in the front that I'd made. The axle I'd widened and everything and made it work, but it just still ain't jiving right. So I don't know. Any ideas? I mean, I've looked everywhere for tires and wheels. I I really don't know. There's got to be something out there that'll work, but I just haven't been able to find it yet. I think the last one I'm going to show is the Winnebago. I consider this a rat rod because it's got some real patina, some real dents and dings and scrapes and stuff. This thing is still working flawlessly. I took it out, if you saw in the video earlier, to the Lone Star event, and I pulled the trailer around, pulled the number 3 rat rod on it, and it works great. It's fast enough, it's not too fast, and it hauls, it looks scale, it wobbles around just like a real one. Running it on a big 2-cell LiPo, I think it's a 5000 or something, and yeah, that thing could run all day. And I've toyed with the idea of putting some different tires and wheels on it and stuff like that, but it works so well. It's perfect. It's one of those rare builds that just right out of the gate, first go round, it was just spot on. Everything worked, everything jived right, and I can't bring myself to change it. It's good the way it is. Still would like to add some more interior detail at some point, but it's not high on the priority list right now. The trailer hitch and everything is holding up that we did on the back bumper. It's held up great. That's the trailer hitch off the Banggood, the TFL Racing Bronco that we did, and it's just all mounted to some sheet metal to the stock Tonka rubber bumper. I'm not sure if I ever showed. I put some new lights in it. Ordered some replacement vintage Tonka tail lights and some headlights, and probably added a few more stickers to the back of it. And for everybody in the comments, yes, I know that's upside down. Problem, no problem. That's the joke of it, because it's an old Winnebago. If it's right side up, it's still a problem. It's just kind of the funny thing. But yeah, I'm hoping this is kind of cool. I can take it to events like that, and I can just hook up the trailer and pull something around and kind of show my work without having to drive one of the rat rods around. But I think next time I go out there, do something, I'm gonna get I need to get the farm truck running, and I need to get number 2. It's ready to run. I just need to throw a battery in it and bind it with the radio again. But the Winnebago is working great. Everything I had to rebind it with the radio as well. It's been a while since I drove it, but everything down here is holding up. It works. Don't fix it if it ain't broken, I guess. Battery, it's still a little janky with the battery wire. Has to run under the drive shaft, but whatever, it works. Like I said, it's not a real high speed rig, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Got a lot of scrapes on the front bumper up here where it's dragging across stuff. Some more fresh rust and things like that. I'm just gonna let it ride. But yeah, that's all for that one. Still one of my favorite builds. I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I appreciate y'all watching. No, we didn't really get a whole lot accomplished. I'm kind of in a rut right now, just trying to figure out what the next thing to do is. The ModRod stuck on the front suspension. I need to extend the chassis out. I've got some aluminum plate and stuff I've been looking at. I need somewhere up front to mount some kind of cantilever arm for the air suspension. You know, these air ride builds always seem to take extra time because there's just so much extra pieces, so many components to it. But we'll get it figured out. But yeah, appreciate y'all watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and keep a scale. See y'all on the next one.